Hi, everybody. This is Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. It's Sunday, October 12th, 2025. This is a special update for the coastal low impacting the East Coast from Florida to Maine with a special focus on the Mid-Atlantic for the All Hazards Consortium. The governor of New Jersey has declared a state of emergency and mutual assistance has been called in. What that means is for the electric sector, partnering utilities send in crews to stage before there may be large-scale power outages. And so crews from Illinois and also from Pennsylvania have staged in New Jersey to make sure they're there in case any power outages happen and reinforcements are needed for crews. Well, this is the satellite image, and look at that. It looks pretty darn impressive, doesn't it? This is a low that's deepening. Not deepening really rapidly, but it is pretty impressive here on the satellite imagery. I mean, look at this. This is the center, almost like it's a hurricane or tropical storm. You can see the clearing out right here in the center. Meanwhile, there's lots of heavy rain that's moving into coastal North Carolina and also leaving South Carolina, although there are showers going on there. Here's the good news for places like Charleston and Myrtle Beach. The winds come around counterclockwise around a low pressure system. So now in Beaufort, South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, and in Myrtle Beach, the winds are blowing offshore. So that's great. That is going to really minimize the tides when you get into high and low tide cycles. It's going to minimize the impacts of those high tides. But the opposite occurs to the north of this low pressure system, where winds are blowing quite strongly inland into the Outer Banks of North Carolina, coming into the northern Outer Banks, coming into places like Virginia Beach right now, where high tide is around 2 o'clock. Officials around Norfolk have closed the flood barriers there because they could get up to near record flood heights or tide heights that would cause a lot of flooding. But this is the way it looks like on the satellite picture. Let's take it full screen and I'll show you what it looks like here. Look at that. It is impressive. And I'm going to show you the wind field here on this particular situation because the winds are really howling in from the ocean right onto the land in the Outer Banks, Virginia Beach, Maryland, Ocean City, Maryland's taking it on the chin right now. Fortunately, tides are going down a little bit, but here's what it looks like from the standpoint of the winds. And indeed, this is what's going on. There you see the circulation of the low pressure system, but look far to the north. That is where these strong winds are coming right in and focusing in on Virginia Beach, focusing in on Ocean City, Maryland, and Rehoboth and Bethany and Lewis in Delaware. Also in coastal New Jersey, where winds right now are they're gusting well over tropical storm force. Tropical storm force is 39 miles per hour, 35 knots. And this is the setup. Look at this fetch. When we talk about a fetch, talk about how much of the ocean are the winds able to blow across and blow these winds into the coastline. Now notice this is pretty confined right to the immediate coastline with some of these high winds. In coastal North Carolina here, along Maryland and Delaware's coastline, it is a little bit breezy inland. Some winds have gusted to about 30 miles per hour on the Chesapeake Bay, but certainly not as bad as it is on the coastline right now in Ocean City and in Delaware. Now, I do want to show you something really spectacular. You don't see this many times. We use this product, the Total Precipitable Water product, to show where atmospheric rivers are and where moisture is heading. And this is pretty incredible. I have actually, frankly, never seen this before. And I want to point this out. And I'll do that with my cursor here. Look at this. We have this coastal storm developing here. We have Tropical Storm Jerry that's right in here that's contributing moisture. Remember the other day I said that Jerry was going to contribute moisture into this system? Well, look at this happening right now, coming out of two different parts of the Caribbean. This is a classic atmospheric river, and there's a second atmospheric river right here as well. So we have a double atmospheric river taking all this moisture out of the Caribbean here, transporting it to the north, and then being swung around this developing NorEaster, this major coastal storm, and bringing it right in to the coastline here. Think about this. Not only is this moisture transport, this is pushing water and waves this way and then into the coastline. This is going to result in major flooding. I wouldn't be surprised to see flooding along the roadways of many coastal towns, particularly in Delaware and New Jersey. Lewis, Delaware, likely getting flooded roads. Ocean City, Maryland, likely getting flooded roads. Bethany Beach, Delaware. Lewis, Delaware. Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. Really taking it on the chin. But this is quite spectacular here. A double atmospheric river. And look at this. Even some of the moisture is coming up out of the Pacific Ocean, being transported over Cuba and then into this system. It's pretty incredible. Okay, here's Charleston, South Carolina, where winds look fairly calm right now. Winds are blowing offshore, as I showed you, so we don't have any big issue with the tides coming in within Charleston, South Carolina at this moment. You can see that the battery cam looks pretty decent. The water is higher than it should be, but at least in this area, we don't see any flooding. Here's a look right now at the tides and where they are in Charleston. You can see right here, they're at about high tide, but now they're going to be starting to go down. And at these high tide levels, you can see that there's a little bit of sand that's visible right there, but at least it's not certainly overtopping the battery. That's a good sign. Let's go a little bit north now to Ocean City in Maryland. Take a look at this. This is a live feed from the fishing pier at Ocean City. You can see the waves. Boy, they are really crashing up, and they're going up on the beach a lot further than they normally go. As a matter of fact, I can change the view here on the camera and take a look at the parking lot down at the inlet. Now, this is what it looks like right now. Just to the left is where I was showing the camera coming onto the beach. But look at this. This is a very big parking lot down by the inlet in Ocean City, Maryland. You can see the inlet itself. This is the inlet where the waves and tide is being pushed in right here. Off to the right is Assateague Island. But look at this. Look how big the waves are right here. And the waves are being pushed in. The tide's being pushed in to the Ocean City inlet. But fortunately, it looks like, look how high the water did come up. This is how high the ocean and the waves washed up all the way into this area here around the parking lot. Now the tide is going down slightly. It's on its way down, and that's good news because we'll save some of the flooding from the parking lot. This is not too rare in Ocean City. Whenever we have coastal storms coming up, we do get flooding like this, but it sure is a nuisance, and it does attract a lot of eyeballs, people coming to the inlet to take pictures and see what's going on. But I do want to show you something here, which is a time lapse of what it looked like yesterday. This time yesterday, on Saturday, Ocean City was hosting a huge car show. Look at this time lapse. All these people arriving, setting up their cars, having vendors set up, and it lasted yesterday until later in the afternoon when the police came by and said, nope, we're canceling the auto show for tomorrow. Everybody get out of here. It's too dangerous. We have a storm warning, high wind warning that's been issued. We got to get everybody out of Ocean City right now. And so everyone started to pack up, and look how fast everyone packed up. As a matter of fact, on the left-hand side, they had barriers so people couldn't just walk onto the beach, but they pulled those barriers up just as fast and certainly got out of there. And then you started to see the wind blow the sand across the parking lot last night, and then it took over today. And this is what it looks like today, with the ocean saying That parking lot is now the beach. This is what it looks like from the standpoint of Ocean City from the pier looking to the north. You can see those big waves coming in from the east, crashing in. Wow, that was a big one right there. And fortunately, the tide is starting to go down. But let's head to the north towards Bethany Beach in Delaware. Here we go. This is Bethany Beach live here at 1:47. And it does look like that the waves have come up to the dune and may have taken part of the dune away as well. These waves are coming up very, very hard to the dune there. No one was standing there. It was earlier. I have a little bit of video from people watching the waves coming up, and they had to step back quickly when some waves came up. But look at these waves and how high they are. I'm going to throw on here the waves and the measurement of the waves from this National Data Buoy Center. This is a NOAA buoy that's just offshore at Bethany Beach, buoy number 44084. And typically I graph the wind gusts and wave heights here, but this particular buoy is a wave rider buoy, so it doesn't record the waves or the winds. But look at the peak waves there, 10.5 feet, and they just gradually keep going up. Look at this. This is the 24-hour plot that I did through GeoCollaborate, and you can see the waves building and building and building. Look at the waves, 8 to 12 feet, winds 40 miles per hour with gusts to 60 miles per hour. That's why we have a storm warning in effect right now, right on the coastline, and even tomorrow, 8 to 12 foot waves with 40 mile per hour winds early in the morning around midnight, gusting to 60, and then they will taper off a little bit during the latter part of the day. There is a storm warning in effect just offshore, so wherever you see the waves happening, storm warning until late in the afternoon tomorrow, 6 p.m. or so. That's when it's going to end. But take a look right now. Here's the high tide. 1:41 today. So that high tide just ended. So we should see the waves and the surge somewhat come down over the next couple of hours. Low tide is at 7:49 tonight. And then another high tide at 1:58 tomorrow morning. We're very concerned about that one because that will max again with peak wind gusts. And we could see quite a bit of more beach and dune erosion from this heavy wave action. What I've done here is just done a split screen from Bethany Beach, which is to the north, and Virginia Beach to the south. These are both live webcams, and the tide is just coming up in Virginia Beach, so they should see more waves coming up to the seawall there over the next hour or so. Meanwhile, in Bethany Beach, the tide will start to come down, but those waves, max waves, peaked so far from a buoy offshore at about 10 feet, about 10 and a half feet or so. But some of these breakers here, 8 to 12 foot breakers, and we're having a lot of impact here on the dune. Look at that. There is zero beach in Bethany Beach right now. The dune is protecting them. The grasses are doing what they're supposed to do. But this certainly is not good for any dunes going up and down the Bethany Beach or any of the Delaware coastline here. There could be some breaches in the dunes, and that has happened on occasion just north of the Indian River Inlet Bridge. Okay, now this is a live look at the Delaware Department of Transportation traffic, and you can see the waves pounding into the shoreline there. They did a lot of reconstruction here of these dunes right in here, and it looks like some of them are getting overtopped. You can see the sand that's come down over here, and some of the water looks like it might be on the road, a little bit of the road right there. There's an emergency vehicle right here, and another one here that's taking a look at what's going on. But it looks like some of the ocean has come in this way, and that's something they wanted to avoid. They did a lot of work trying to build this up since the last time when Hurricane Aaron came off the coast. We had quite an impact there as well, as another coastal storm earlier. Now, as you know, and I've talked about before, GeoCollaborate is monitoring a lot of the ocean observing platforms. These are buoys, these are drifters, these are ocean wave drifters. A lot of these being brought together by the IUS regional associations and the IUS associations, so we can display all these together into this instance of GeoCollaborate. And here's what I want to point out here. We can click on any of these buoys and get the live data, and we can see what the winds are, gusting to 29.2 miles per hour from the west. From the west. That means the center of the low pressure system is to the north of this buoy. And look at this. This is one of those wave spectral drifters. Do you remember when it was about a month ago, students from the University of North Carolina, Wilmington, UNCW, deployed a whole bunch of wave drifters, and they were drifting all over the place. This may be one of them, or this may be another drifter that was deployed several weeks ago in a hurricane. I'm not sure exactly if this is the one by the students or the one by the airplane, the NOAA P3. In any case, look at the significant wave height here, 11.6 feet. These drifters are critical because it gives us an idea for what kind of waves might be headed to or away from the shore. And then we have these too. Look at this. This is close to the center of where that low pressure system is. Winds are gusting to 23 knots, and you can see a water temperature there. But what I want to do is move up the coast here just a little bit towards the Outer Banks. 12.5 foot waves are being measured right here with winds from the east. And that means waves are coming from the east as well. So the Outer Banks, no doubt, is getting pounded right now by these northeasterly winds. Here are winds gusting to 23 knots, and you can see the pressure is 29.62 inches. It says rising right now. It's going to be falling very shortly. Here's 17.1 foot waves right off the coast of Norfolk and Virginia Beach here. 17.1 foot waves. That means we have big ones that are headed towards the coastline as the tide goes up and those winds increase in intensity. That's going to blow a lot of these waves towards the coastline. That is what's going to lead to a lot of beach erosion as well. This is the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers station. 12.1 foot waves here, very, very close. Look at this, very, very close to Wallops Island in Virginia, where they launch the rockets, the missions to the space station so they can resupply it. There's big waves headed for there as well. And here's a buoy right off the coast of Delaware, winds gusting well over tropical storm force. We do have water temperatures or air temperature of 66 degrees, so it's kind of a raw, obviously windy day. You know about that on the coastline. And as we move a little bit closer, we have a station here that is that 10.5 foot wave measurement that we showed earlier, full screen, because we're monitoring this and graphing this data as well. So this is 10.5 foot waves, dominant wave period of 9 seconds. And then for you folks up in New Jersey, we're watching this as well pretty closely as well. I'm going to back out here just so you can see geographically where these are. Here's a drifter buoy. It looks like this drifter buoy might have been washed ashore here, but it sure is very, very close to shore here in New Jersey. Up towards New York City, northern New Jersey near Sandy Hook, winds gusting to 33 knots and significant wave heights of 10.5 feet. All of this is critical for us to be able to communicate to emergency managers the wave heights that are heading towards the beaches. And as you'll see, these winds are going to continue for many days, not at the high levels that we're seeing, 40 to 50 miles per hour out over the ocean, but because the way this low pressure system is going to be acting over the next few days, it looks like we're going to keep these gradients, these pressure gradients and winds from 20 to 30 miles per hour into the coastline for the next several days. In the Chesapeake Bay, we can take a look at this. Winds gusting to 31 knots and significant wave height 3.5 feet. So it's not a great day either to be in the Chesapeake Bay. Okay, so here we have the low pressure system off of North Carolina. That's just where we saw it on the satellite imagery earlier. And I'm going to put this into motion here so you can see what happens. Notice up to the north, this is where the strongest winds are happening now. So from northern North Carolina, those beaches there, to Virginia Beach, to the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay, the Maryland, Delaware, and New Jersey coastline here, that is where the strongest winds are right now. And watch what happens as I put this into motion, going on hour by hour. You see the low pressure, it remains down there. It's moving very slowly off of North Carolina. And the wind maximum stays there. And look at that. So now we're talking about tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, the low pressure system starts to move and winds really pick up again on the Outer Banks. They probably won't ease up at all. I suspect we're going to have more houses collapsing into the Atlantic Ocean around Rodanthe and also Buxton in North Carolina. And then up towards Virginia Beach, we have a secondary wind maximum. Look at this. This is tomorrow evening, tomorrow late afternoon, tomorrow evening, as this low pressure system intensifies a little bit and then moves to the north. And we'll get another wind maximum here along the beaches. Look at that. The low starts to move out to sea. However, the wind maximums come up again from Long Island all the way to New Jersey, to Maryland and Delaware beaches, into Virginia Beach once again. Now, it doesn't look like it'll be the 40 to 50 mile per hour winds with gusts to 60, but a consistent wind of 25 to 35 miles per hour is going to push a lot of water. And that's why we get these views like this in Bethany Beach, Delaware. The waves just consistently running up and colliding with those dunes. There is going to be a serious need for beach replenishment all along Delaware's coastline, likely in New Jersey as well after the storm gets finished. And unfortunately, we're just heading in to the nor'easter season, which happens during the winter months up and down the East Coast. And the beaches are now very, very vulnerable as these waves continue. Every wave that comes in here takes more sand back out to sea. Okay, so we're back at the forecast model here. This is about 11 o'clock on Tuesday. You can see the low pressure system still out there and winds still plaguing the East Coast. Now we're into Tuesday night, and this is where this particular model run ends. But we still have a low pressure system out there, and we still have persistent winds hitting the coastline. Folks, this is going to be a long-term issue. It's going to impact the mid-Atlantic coastline between now and likely Thursday. Good news is that the intense winds will ease up after tomorrow, but that's the intense winds from the 40 to 60 mile per hour wind gust range, and maybe down here more steady at about 25 to 30 miles per hour. So that's going to be it for this update this afternoon. You can see that low pressure system off of North Carolina. The clouds stop here in Ohio and even western West Virginia. Look at that, a beautiful day there. These clouds will come and go. But as this low slowly moves on up the coast, we're going to see that persistent wind coming in from the northeast into Delaware, into Virginia Beach and the Outer Banks of North Carolina. And we even have some heavier thunderstorms that are developing right there. That's close to where the flash flood warning was issued. Horry County is down in this area, but we may get some flash flood warnings out of this thunderstorm that's developing here on the North and South Carolina border. Here's the big fetch of wind that's coming right into the East Coast there, and I'm afraid we're going to see quite a bit of beach erosion and maybe some overwatch of some dunes. So that's it for this update. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. This has been for the All Hazards Consortium, Sensitive Information Sharing Environment. We also do have a catastrophic flooding going on in Arizona right now. We've talked about that over the last few days of flash flood potential, and it looks like it is going on right now. And so if you live out in that area, please heed these warnings. It doesn't take a lot of rain to cause catastrophic flooding. And there is catastrophic flooding going on right now in Maricopa County in Arizona. So please be safe wherever you are. If you're on the East Coast and you're a responding utility crew into New Jersey, thank you for what you're doing. Please stay away from the coastline. These waves are weakening dunes, and it's only going to get worse as the tide comes back up again. So thanks for watching. We'll be back with another update later on in the week. I'll be out of town for just a little bit, and then I'll be back. So please take care of yourself and take care of your neighbors. They really do appreciate it. Take care.